How many of you have actually read 26 USC section 5000A? What's that, Mark? That's part of the Affordable Care Act, where the fools in Washington are debating whether it's a tax or a penalty. And if I hear a single Republican senator, even Republican senators I've endorsed, or a single Republican candidate, including Republican candidates that I've endorsed against incumbents, say that the tax argument of Roberts has some basis, I'm going to turn on them in 2 seconds. Now, the so-called Affordable Care Act. This applies to you. You, Mr. and Mrs. America. You. I want you to hear part of this. And really what caused my interest in this is my buddy Hugh Hewitt. I want you to listen to this. 26 USC section 5000A. Requirement to maintain minimum essential care, E5. This is E5A. You're required to comply with this. An applicable individual, this is the law, shall for each month beginning after 2013 ensure that the individual and any dependent of the individual who's an applicable individual is covered under the minimum essential coverage for such month. Now we go to 5000A, E, B, 1. If a taxpayer who is an applicable individual or an applicable individual for whom the taxpayer is liable under paragraph 3 fails to meet the requirement of subsection A for 1 or more months, then except as provided in subsection E, there is hereby imposed on the taxpayer penalty with respect to such failures in the amount determined under subsection C. You got that? Now, let's go to 5000A E5B2. Any penalty imposed by this section with respect to any month shall be included with a taxpayer's return under Chapter 1 for the taxable year which includes such month. 3. If an individual with respect to whom a penalty is imposed by this section for any month, A, is a dependent as defined in Section 152 of another taxpayer for the other taxpayer's taxable year, including such month, such other taxpayer shall be liable for such penalty, or B, files a joint return for the taxable year, including such month, such individual and spouse of such individual shall be jointly liable for such penalty. You got it? Obamacare. This is the same jerk. That's right, I said it. The same jerk saying, I've ensured that the credit card companies and the student loan companies and the insurance companies have to get rid of the fine print. You'll go blind reading this statute. I'm not done. 5000A E5C1. The amount of the penalty imposed by this section on any taxpayer for any taxable year with respect to the failures described in subsection B1 shall be equal to the lesser of A, the sum of the monthly penalty amounts determined under paragraph 2 for months in the taxable year during which one or more such failures occurred, or B, an amount equal to the national average premium for qualified health plans which have a bronze level of coverage, provide coverage for the applicable family size involved, and are offered through exchanges for plan years beginning in the calendar year with or within which the taxable year ends. You got it? You got it? 2. For purposes of paragraph 1A, the monthly penalty amount with respect to any taxpayer for any month during which any failure described in subsection B1 occurred is an amount equal to 1/12 of the greater of the following amounts. A, flat dollar amount. That is, an amount equal to lesser of I, the sum of the applicable dollar amounts for all individuals with respect to whom such failure occurred during such month, or double I, 300% of the applicable dollar amount determined without regard to paragraph 3C for the calendar year with or within which the taxable year ends. Ladies and gentlemen, I've got 15 pages of this. You damn well better understand it. They're talking about you. How about B of the same section, an amount equal to the following percentage of the excess of the taxpayer's household income for the taxable year over the amount of gross income specified in Section 6012A1 with respect to the taxpayer for the taxable year I, 1% for taxable years beginning in 2014, double I, 2% for taxable years beginning in 2015, triple I, 2.5% for taxable years beginning after 2015, and of course, the 2.5% will go to 5%, 8%, 10%, whatever the hell they want. Number 3. Mark, this is monotonous. Mark is telling you what you have to live with right now under existing laws. Let the others talk about silver linings. This is a dark cloud. Applicable dollar amount. Some of you do your taxes on your own. That's going to end real fast. This is the biggest change in the tax code in 50 years, other than the Reagan streamlining of the tax code. But putting that aside, this is the biggest change in the tax code in 50 years. 3A, in general, except as provided in subparagraphs B and C, the applicable dollar amount is $695. Phase in the applicable dollar amount is $95 for 2014, $325 for 2015. Now, why do you think those amounts are so low, ladies and gentlemen? Because we're suckers. It sucks you in. Oh, it's only $95? Only $325? Only $695? Then they slip a little language in another act. Another law, another appropriations bill. Wait a minute, I got to pay $1,500. Wait, $2,800. Wait, what's going on here? Section D, indexing the amount. In the case of any calendar year beginning after 2016, the applicable dollar amount should be equal to $695, increased by an amount equal to I, $695 multiplied by double I, the cost of living adjustment determined under Section 1F3 for the calendar year, determined by substituting calendar year 2015 for calendar year 1992 in paragraph B thereof. If the amount of any increase under Clause I is not multiple of 50, that is $50, such increase shall be rounded to the next lowest multiple of $50. Whew! Thank goodness for that. Terms relating to income and families. For the purpose of this section, A, family size. The family size involved with respect to any taxpayer shall be equal to the number of individuals for whom the taxpayer is allowed a deduction under Section 151 relating to allowance of deduction for personal exemptions for the taxable year. B, household income. The term household income means, and it goes on and on and on and on. I'm just turning the pages. It just is. We address TRICARE and Medicare and Medicaid, the CHIP program. I mean, I tell you to take a look at it, but you won't understand it. I don't understand it. But I understand this. Here's the bottom line. Almost every day now, in the British newspapers, the Daily Mail, quote, my 17 hours of hell at a hospital where a patient died of thirst. The Telegraph, hospitals letting patients die to save money. Go to the Drudge Report. Every day, every single day. You heard the gobbledygook. I only just began reading it to you on the individual mandate, the penalty, the tax, or as I call it, the cucumber. Why do you call it that? Because call it whatever you want. But Mark, it's going to make health care cheaper. Can you imagine 2,700 pages of that, plus just so far, 13,000 pages of regulations, administered by the Internal Revenue Service, under threat of penalty? Up and down the healthcare chain, doctors and nurses and hospital administrators, insurance companies, pharmaceutical companies, companies that invent all kinds of things that we need in the healthcare chain, down to the patient. Can you imagine? How do the elderly read this? Seriously. if they, particularly people who are having issues of concentration or mental issues. I'm very serious about this. Or eye problem. Somebody's going to have to read it to them. Somebody's going to have to do it for them. Who's going to do all this? Who's going to handle all this for your family? Whoa, well, look what we're doing. We're giving you this. You're giving us what? I can't even read it. Oh, go to subsection E, double I, section F, U. Oh, man, are we in for it? Oh, man, are we in for it? This country won't be recognizable in 18 to 24 months. You think you've got red tape now? You don't know what red tape is. You don't know what it's like to have no appeal rights. You don't know what it's like when the government has all kinds of computer data on you. What's that ahead? Oh, that's a drone. Don't worry about that. They're just checking on the farmers to make sure they're not pissing in their own ponds. Oh, okay, great.